In part 2 of this series, we will see how to enforce data privacy requirements from modeling through test. We will learn how sensitive customer information can be safeguarded by masking it when creating databases. We will identify the columns that contain such sensitive information and find the SQL statements within the application. Looking at the Data Project Explorer view and expanding our data design project, we can see that a physical data model has been defined. When opening this physical data model and expanding it, we can navigate to the column containing sensitive information, denoted by this privacy icon. Looking closer into this physical data model, we see that the architect has defined a set of properties under data privacy that defines the information on the physical data model for this column. By associating this model with our development environment, we can easily see columns identified as containing sensitive information, and this can help us as developers maintain compliance in how we handle such sensitive data in our application. To make this association, come to your database connection, right-click, and select Properties. Under Data Privacy Modeling, click Browse, and select the model defining the privacy information. Click OK. Click OK. And now when expanding our connection and viewing our tables and columns, we now see the data privacy icon showing for the column containing the sensitive information, as enforced by the physical data model. To go even further, developers can also use the SQL outline to see which SQL statements contain sensitive information, and to see where these SQL statements appear within their application. Go to the SQL outline and expand the schema. Expand the table, and now you will see the SQL statements that contain that column. If you expand the SQL, you will see that privacy icon on the column itself. Double-click on any SQL statement, and you will be taken directly into the code where that SQL statement is used. As a developer, you can easily view your code and see that you are not using inappropriately any information that has been denoted as private data. Click on any column that contains a privacy icon, and now go and select the Properties view. Here we see the properties that have been defined in the physical data model by the architect. For example, we see that its classification is set as confidential, that the policy type is for a credit card number, and so on. To see further details about the column, right-click the column and select Finding Physical Data Model. This will take us to the data design project where the physical data model is defined for that column. And now you can view its properties, or modify it, or look at any other part of the model itself. If the developer is interested to view only the SQL statements that use such column, he can use the filtering action by clicking on the down arrow and selecting Filter. Select the option to show only SQL containing columns marked as private and click OK. Viewing at the outline, now we are shown only the SQLs that contain such column. We can also identify all locations within your application that may be printing sensitive information onto the console. To do this, open the Pure Query method style annotated interface that we created in part 1 of this series. Right-click on the column defined to have privacy information and go to Pure Query, Analyze Column Value Dependencies. The Pure Query Analysis view will open, showing you the flow of the code of how that column is being used. Go to the filter and select to only show us references to code that prints the column values onto the console. Click OK. As we can see, we can now see the code references that actually print the information contained in that column. You can double click on any of the nodes and it will take you directly to the code that's printing that information onto the console as requested.